So the leaks for Boruto 2 Blue Vortex chapter 15 have just come out, and this chapter already looks quite interesting. The cover for this chapter is Ryu, and I really like the chapter cover. I love the ambiance, I love the background, I love the posing, and I especially love the way the text blends in with the background a bit. We see that Ryu's colors are orange, not red, and he has some interesting design for his feet. We see that he almost have this like high heel claw mark and monstrous feet that we usually see with the Shinju. So I really like this cover from Ikimoto. I rate this a cool 8.5 out of 10. The chapter begins with a flashback. We end up going back in time to figure out exactly how Shinki ended up being turned into a Shinju, and we see them having a fight with Matsuri and a bunch of clog rhymes. We see Shinki, we see the rest of his teammates. I don't really remember their names, but we'll probably end up getting their names again in the next few chapters, or if you know already their names, just let me know. But they are all trapped in this sort of cocoon. I don't know, I think this may be one of Matsuri's abilities, her earth style, because all of them are trapped in this cocoon. Gaara is the last one remaining who is fighting and has some sort of injury, which means that Matsuri was quite easily able to take care of the entire group. I don't know why it appears like they are in some sort of cave. They're in like Kashin Koji's cave, or the cave, or one of Orochimaru's old hideouts. I don't know why, I don't know exactly why they're there, but that's quite interesting to point out, because imagine if this is all taking place in Kashin Koji's hideout, and the reason why Matsuri was able to figure out that Kashin Koji was alive was because she fought Gaara and Shinki and the rest of the people who were there, and also got information about Kashin Koji and where exactly are his whereabouts. This is definitely quite interesting to see. However, we don't have the translations for the text, so if the text translations do end up coming out near when the chapter does end up coming out, you might hear more from me. However, what we do see is a Matsuri who's easily capable of taking care of all of them. I don't know if this is Matsuri, because from some of the panels that we're seeing a Gaara who is able to move all of them and control them in some way, shape, or form. So maybe Gaara is trying to protect them and place them in this sand like cocoon thing, and is trying to prevent Matsuri to be able to do anything to Shinki and his friends. That could also be something that is going on, especially with us seeing Gaara move Shinki and his friends. Matsuri has a cold panel with some clograms at the back. I don't know exactly what she is saying, but it appears like now Gaara has made it so that he will be taking on the clograms and that Shinju by himself, almost like what Sasuke did with Boruto. However, Shinki refuses to let this happen and uses his iron sand to free himself from that sand cocoon. And he ends up trying to protect Gaara, and by doing so, he is the one who ends up being bitten by the clograms. He places Gaara in that same sand cocoon that Gaara had placed him and his friends under, and now we have a clogram who ends up biting him, and his friends can't do anything to protect him. What is quite interesting is that we don't see Matsuri do the same to all four of them, which I don't have a specific reason why, but it is something important to note. Maybe they can only deal with one certain throw at a time to revive them, which could be the reason why they didn't end up biting the rest of the other people, or Gaara made it possible for all of them to retreat in due time. But this is what we end up seeing from that flashback. A Shinki who has been turned into a tree while trying to protect Gaara, which most likely means that Shinki's target will be Gaara. Gaara is still in that cocoon, and Matsuri is just looking on. She touches that sand but doesn't say anything, just ... We have some interesting information being revealed to us that we probably won't end up knowing until it is fully translated, but Matsuri seems to say something about Shinki. Then we end up going back to the present, where we have a Kankuro and a Shikamaru who are talking about what has to be done next, which will most likely deal with the least sending some aid to the Sand Village to deal with the Shinju. Shikamaru will probably also reveal that they're having a similar situation, however, not too many people have died from it. I don't know if any people from the Sand Village have died yet due to the Shinju, however, in the Leaf, this has been the case. Sarada, Shikamaru, Sumire are all having this discussion, in the Hokage's office, where there is a toad who is listening to their entire conversation. I don't know if Sarada or anybody really noticed, it doesn't appear to be the case. However, it means that Kashin Koji is listening to all of that information and will probably use it to his advantage. And this is where we see Shinju Ryu. Ryu, he seems pretty tall just from that panel alone, but he is now talking. I don't know if we're going to get some cool insights in his character from this few texts, but it is quite interesting to see Ryu and Jura have a conversation. But during that conversation, Ryu is the one who notices something quite interesting. She tells the rest of the Shinju to stop talking, and then he uses his Iron Sand to go and grab Code out. For all my Code fans, we have Code who is finally back in the manga. And if you're a Code fan, you're already used to seeing Code getting ragdolled, getting tortured, getting put in all sorts of animations, and this is probably what we're going to end up seeing again, as he is grabbed by the neck by Ryu using the Iron Sand, and he is placed up in the air, and they confront Code. Ryu already is putting in work. Ryu's already doing his thing, and bro, he might be Code level. These guys just might be all stronger than Code. From what it appears like, they don't see him as a threat. They're playing around with him, toying around with him. Nobody is scared that Code actually popped in, which just tells me that they're all stronger than Code, even with the karma, which means that they are all Jigen plus level threats, and that's quite interesting to have, because a lot of people only believe that, oh, it's only Jura that's that strong, it's only Hidari that's that strong, but Matsuri, Bug, and Ryu are probably not. But with what I'm seeing, bro, they're all over that Jigen threshold. They're all past Code's level, and they would probably beat Code in a 1v1, which is quite interesting to see. But what I like to see is that Code is still trying to extrapolate information, still trying to collect data, and it's still relevant in the series some way, somehow. But Code, he ends up being dropped, and he has a conversation with Jura. Don't know exactly what they're talking about, but during that conversation, it appears that Code was trying to use the claw marks to end up killing Jura, and it means that their claw marks are still connected, just like a lot of people have been mentioning that how Code can maybe just use his claw marks to steal one of the Torn Souls. And with what we see in this chapter, this could actually be the case. Maybe if Jura isn't paying attention and somebody ends up dying and he has to collect their Torn Soul, Code could use the claw marks to end up grabbing that Torn Soul and using it for himself. Code ends up activating his karma, and he attacks Jura using the claw marks that is connected to his outfit. But Jura, without even moving, simply looks at his arm, and it is cut in half. We have Code who no longer has that arm to use, and that's quite interesting because we see a Code activated his karma. There's no excuses that we can give Code, and yet again he comes into the series and takes another L. This is Code for you feel me? This is literally Code. I'm happy to see him back though. Yeah, Jura doesn't feel threatened at all. We literally have a Code who is aggravated, probably due to the damage that he is collecting at the moment, but he places his claw marks on his wound. I don't know what the reason is for that. It's probably maybe to block his blood from continuing to pour, leading to him dying due to bloodlust, or something of the sort. It's probably some way to heal and shut down that wound. And if he's doing so like this, does it mean that he will not be able to grow back that arm? What is the point? What are the authors trying to tell us? Because he basically just came and glossed his arm. That's basically what he came to do. Maybe the translations will offer us a new perspective, but from what I've heard, before Code leaves, he says that he will be having the final laugh. And we're all here just waiting for that W. You know, Code got the W in other timelines, but we're waiting for this Code to catch some sort of a W. And I do know that whatever W he does catch is going to be a major one. So you guys definitely keep investing in Code. I know the stocks are very low, but just wait. He will rise up once again. But Jura continues to have a conversation with Ryu, and Ryu is quite prominent in this chapter, which is great to see. I don't know exactly what is being said, so when the translations do drop, is going to be quite intriguing, but we end up moving on, and we move on to a Boruto who is sitting on the Hokage monuments, and to be specific, on Naruto's, and a Kawaki appears, and they seem to have a conversation. And all of this just makes me quite proud that we see a Kawaki who is not hostile. I hope they do end up talking about omnipotence, where Kawaki reveals to Boruto that he really didn't have any information on omnipotence, and everything that happened wasn't intentional on his part. However, he seized the opportunity to use that to his advantage because in his mind, Boruto still has to die. But now that they have a common threat as the Shinju, he knows that it would be better for both of them to deal with them together, especially after Code got beat and literally did not know what he could do against Jura. It would be best for them to join together and end up working together to deal with the Shinju. And I feel like that's the conversation that they are having right now, because in the sneak peek preview, they were talking about Boruto getting stronger, and some way, somehow, Boruto has information on how that is possible. But from some of the translations that did end up coming out, we do hear that Kawaki getting stronger has something to do with Amado, and it was just like what I was saying in the official sneak peek. And what Boruto reveals is that Amado intentionally made Kawaki's karma weaker, or basically nerfed Kawaki's karma, and doesn't allow him to utilize his full power. That's what Boruto tells Kawaki. I don't know if this is a mistranslation or translated to perfection. However, this is some very intriguing information, because I believe that this is all leading towards the revival of Amado's daughter, because Kawaki will then on have to go to Amado to tell him that, yo, you should fix my karma real quick. And then Amado will then propose the deal to be made of him reviving his daughter. I think that's the path that the story will end up taking, especially since Kawaki now has that information. Or Kawaki will simply try to torture Amado, as we heard from Amado himself that he is quite weak to any sort of torture. This could be the case, but their conversation is a pretty long one. It lasts a couple of pages, a good amount, maybe like 10 pages, and it means that there's gonna be a lot more information that is revealed in this conversation. But the final thing about this conversation, we literally see that we have an Amado who's looking at the conversation. So Amado knows exactly what Boruto is saying, and he's like, yo, how is that possible that he knows all this information? And then he goes back and reviews the footage and sees that Toad, and remembers that probably it has to do with Kashin Koji. And since Amado is the one who gave them all those crazy abilities, he now understands how Boruto 1 became this strong, how Boruto has access to so much information, and who is the guy helping Boruto. He deduces that it must be Kashin Koji. So what is Amado's plan going to be from now on? That's going to be quite intriguing to see, because Amado now has Kashin Koji as probably his biggest threat to his position, as he literally revealed that Kawaki is being intentionally nerfed and manipulated by Amado. So I don't know what's going to happen next, but yeah, Amado, I don't know if Amado's time's coming to an end, or Amado's gonna have to be pushed in the corner and do something crazy. But people are starting to figure out that there's something we don't know about Amado. But the end of this chapter is Boruto and Kawaki joining together to defeat the Shinju. And this is something I've been waiting to see for a minute now. A lot of people believe that Kawaki was just going to be a thorn on Boruto's side throughout the entire series, but when they have a common enemy together, just like Sasuke and Naruto, they will end up working together to defeat that. And just like what happened with Sasuke and Naruto in the war arc, where after that war arc ended up attacking Naruto and trying to beat him, we could see something similar with Boruto and Kawaki, leading to the end of the Age of Shinobi. But it was quite great to see a Boruto and a Kawaki join hands together. I loved the last 2 panels. So, you guys let me know what you guys think about the spoilers. This chapter is already gearing up to be something crazy. I hope we learned some cool information in the translations that do end up coming out. But it's been your boy Dynasty, and I'm out, bruh.